This morning, we're going to spend the first 2 hours going over some of the basics of the licensing requirements, what you need to have for your facility, and the science and the technology behind putting food in a jar or in a safe and appropriate manner, so you don't kill anybody. And I say that, but that is a real concern that we're set up that way. Then we're going to have a nice lunch that's going to be catered by Tracks with ingredients from our farmers. And then after lunch, we're going to have the opportunity to take a tour of our kitchen here in Unity, our common kitchen. This is the same kitchen that feeds thousands. We've put out over 8,000 meals during the fair. So it's a little different now. It's a little cleaner and not so chaotic. But you'll have the opportunity to see. This is a commercial kitchen, not a home food processing kitchen. But I always like to have Marshall go around and help me to improve the facility. This gives me an opportunity right now to put my 2 cents worth in. The state of Maine is here to help us, okay? And I feel that as a producer, I pay my licensing fee and I use their resources and their knowledge. So I don't believe they're the bad cop at all. They're very helpful, and I've always found them to be extremely helpful in my products and my company. So, and I like to take advantage of them whenever I can. and the same with Beth at the university. So, any preconceived notions that you have that the state's the bad guys, I want to just put that to rest, because that's totally not true at all. They are a resource. We're very fortunate to have them here in the state to help small businesses and folks like yourself. So that whenever Marshall comes here, I was like, okay, Marshall, tell me what we have going in our kitchen and how can we improve our facility or what are some things. So this one does a little mock inspection. So, and then after that, after lunch, some folks from our certification side, the MOFGA certification side, will talk to us a little bit about if you want to certify your product as an organic product, what you need to do in some of that part. And then the last portion is we sort of open it up so you have the opportunity to share what your experience is and to ask questions and things like this. The way we structure this workshop is such that you can find out everything you always wanted to know before you invest a dime. So it's what if I want to do this, what do I need to do? And what if I want to do that? That's why I've invited these folks to join us, because they can answer those types of technical questions, okay? So before you do any investment or anything, you can get all those questions answered so that when you do plan and you do hire an architect, or do whatever you're going to do, revise your facility, you've already got answers to those types of questions. So great. I think what I'd like to do first is to start and have you folks just go around and introduce yourself and tell me, whether you come from a farm or what you think about doing or what your interest is as far as food processing is concerned. So you want to start right here? Yeah.
Hi, my name is Mal Stevens. I have a small kind of homestead farm down in Wells. And I'm just kind of looking to see what possibilities are.
Great, thank you for joining us.
I'm Cindy Redmond, and my kitchen is in process, and I figured before I finish, especially with countertop, I'd find out what I need to do. I don't have anything specific that I'm looking to do yet, but I'm also very connected with Maine Cooperative. She's my daughter-in-law. So,
okay. Well, we know Morada real well. I know Morada real well. We're going to get delivery tomorrow, so cool. Okay, great, good. Nice to have you join us then. Excellent. Well, they do some food processing over there too.
And they have that new process.
In the Northern Borough, how does this Saturday?
What's that?
I'm living in Freeport right now, I'm not currently farming.
Okay, all right.
Jay Cook, Ennis Harbor, Mason, foodie, have small farms, and interested in every kind of food there is.
So Kenneth Harbor? Great, thank you.
Hi, I'm Linda Master, I'm from Warren, Maine, and I'm not sure where I'm going to go with this, but I like to bake, and I'm looking to supplement my income by providing baked goods from my own kitchen, probably. So I have other options as well.
Great, thank you.
Right here.
My name is Luke McFadden. I live in Bodenham, and I'd like to start a kitchen where I can utilize some of the produce that's available organically in Bodenham that may not be suitable for farmers markets.
Super, great, right in the back.
My name's Ryan, and I'm starting a farm in Bremen, and I'm just trying to educate myself about all my options.
Good. I like that, but this is, we love to see these folks. They come before they do things. Makes it a lot easier. Go ahead, keep going.
My name's Nathan. I'm doing the farm apprenticeship scene right now. Doing, like making.
Are you apprenticing on a farm right now?
I just finished the village farm over in.
Yep, good.
My name's Danielle, and I was doing apprenticeships too. I was at Long Island Farm in Gardner, and I'm doing caramel as well, and hopefully we can do like farm fresh cream and butter and try and get the community involved.
Okay, all right, so some of those types of products you're talking about are probably gonna be necessary to be done in a cheese room or a commercial kitchen, not necessarily in a home food kitchen, okay? But there are some similarities, okay? But there are, and Marshall will talk to this a little bit, there are different levels of licensing and kitchens and things like that you do need, but because I know we've had some cheesemakers and some other folks in the past, but we'll get to that, all right? And why don't we start in the back row over there, please?
I'm Nikki Collins, and Brittany. I have a little homestead and a lot of extra veggies that I like to try to do something with. So, realized after the first year I made 30 jars of relish that we don't really eat 30 jars of relish a year. So.
There's some chairs right over here, dear. Okay, great, thanks for joining us. And right in the back?
I'm Lisa, the Real Health and Balance. I live in the next town over in Alameda. I had a small farm stand last year, and I also experimented with bread and cookies, selling it to my neighbors, and it seemed to be a hit. So I wanted to find out more so I can go forward, not only sell to my neighbors, but sort of supplement the farm stand with other products.
Okay, great.
My name's Deborah Richmond. I live outside of Bethel, and we have goats and other animals, but I've made cheese at home, and I'm also gluten intolerant. And in our community, there's a number of people that you guys are really gluten intolerant. So I'm kind of looking at both sides of either cheese as well as baking and trying to get to the farmer's market.
Okay, great. All right, and that's the same thing would apply, that the cheese is gonna have to be done in a separate cheese room type situation, okay? Yes?
My name is Laura Daly, and I'm interested in cheese making, possibly getting into goats and making cheese.
Great, I love these cheese makers. Just, if you need somebody to sample the product, just let me know. I'm always available, I'll feel myself. And Beth is very good at cheese, by the way. Go ahead, Dick.
Hi, my name is Lisa Twin-Valley. I don't really have a cold, I just can't, I've lost my voice. But anyhow, I'm from Newport, and I'm currently making a gluten-free oat crumb tart that I'm interested in taking from the home bakery to possibly a commercial application. And also, my husband and I are trying to establish a homestead or a venue where we can get local people that want to sell things like a co-op or a farm, an indoor farm market, something like that. So we're kind of in the exploratory phase of supporting the local food movement.
Great, thanks for joining us.
Bill Howard, here with my wife Ellen. We're interested in baking for our own, but I'm also a planner in economic development, and I'm trying to learn a little bit more to assist other people who might be, interested in this endeavor in the local area.
Okay, great, thank you.
And I'm Ellen Power, and I would just say what you said before, it's possibilities. That's sort of why we're here. And we live in Alameda.
It has a lot of fruit trees on it, and I'm looking to see a way to be able to produce the jams and jellies and give the extra vegetables the fizzy relish.
Okay, super.
And I'm Leanne, and I'm Diane's sister. I'm here for her support and to learn also so that I can assist her and maybe even go into candies also.
Okay, great.
My name is Alex Forrest. I'm from Brunswick, and I am here for all the information I can get to set up my soon-to-be Smart Alex Jams business.
Good, thank you.
And I'm Meredith McDermott from Alma, Maine, and we have cattle, and I'd like to explore products.
Okay, sir.
I'm Edwin. I live in the Liberty area, and I have a small dairy goat herd. We're going to be adding on a little milk room, cheese room, and after talking to the ag folks, I guess it could be a dual-purpose kitchen room, so I'm looking to explore that. I also used to cook for 16 years and quite interested in food.
I'm Gail Slick from Bangor. I own Everlasting Farm. We do organic greens through the winter in our greenhouses, and I'm just considering options because we've just closed retail and need to do something.
Where do you sell your greens?
Locally.
I mean, do you farm the farm, or do you have them in retail stores?
Well, we have Ham and Natural Foods is just closed. We did them. NLC, we sell them at retail at the farm too, but we're changing some of that this year.
I'm sorry, but I spend a lot of time in Bangor now, so I'm always curious where I can get local greens. So yeah, cool, good for you. You said Hampton Natural Food just closed down?
If they haven't closed, they plan to. They're doing, I think it's called Maine Farm Tractor, CSA, and they're delivering to a lot of businesses in Maine.
Okay, I didn't know that. Good, thank you for joining us.
I'm Jenny Johnson, and I'm just starting a farm, and we have an organic garden, and we make great bread, and I don't know really, my son is coming home, and we have sheep, and he wants to do cheeses, so just a lot of different ideas.
Oh, great, good for you, thanks.
Yeah. I'm Vicki Dude, and I'm from Topsom, and I've been making jam for years for my family and other preserves, pickles and such, and my family's grown now, and my daughter's encouraged me to try to do the little business on the side as something to keep myself occupied in later years.
You don't want to get bored, do you?
No, but I'm just in the investigative side because they enjoy it and they think other people would be able to enjoy it, and they want me to pursue the organic track.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for joining us. Marshall, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Marshall Piper. I'm a consumer protection inspector for the Department of Agriculture. My background has been meat, merchandising, etc. Most of my background, but that's about it.
And how long have you been over? You've been doing inspections.
11 years.
11 years.
11 years now.
Yeah.
Beth Calder. I'm a food science specialist with Cooperative Extension and also the Department of Food Science and Human Nutrition. I'm located up at Orono. I do have a farming background. I grew up on a dairy farm in Skowhegan, and I'm a member of the Maine Cheese Guild.
And just did a workshop for him yesterday, right?
Just did a beginner cheese making workshop yesterday up at University of Maine. Really good day, 12 people.
And I gotta put a plug in. Beth and Marshall, you do another course entitled.
It's called Recipe to Market. It's a 4-week workshop series. We meet one night a week for a course of 4 weeks. The next time we're going to be offering it will be in Waldo County, so it's not too far away. We're going to set the dates tomorrow. I believe it will be in April of next year, and it's kind of is a little bit more well-rounded. It gives you the business side. We have Jim McCon who comes in and talks about business planning, marketing, how to price your products. So that takes you from everything from what we're going to talk about a little bit today. We go a little bit more in depth about regulations, food safety, other resources, marketing your product, and then Jim talks about the business side of business products.
Yes.
So where do we get information about that?
I would contact the Waldo County Cooperative Extension Office, and the contact person is Jane Haskell. And they're going to be also conducting the registrations for us too.
And Beth and Marshall all have, and we have materials here, we have contact information, so done today, you know, please feel free to, and I'll say that, to contact any of us with any questions or things that you may have and that sort of thing, so. Okay, yes?
Do we have a late arriver?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, we did have one. Just tell me, we're just trying to get a feel for the folks in the room and what you do and what you're interested in.
Okay, my name is Jessica Farkas. I am from Woolwich, and we just opened a small vegetable stand at our farm this year. And I'm just looking at expanding my herb gardens and possibly doing like dried medicinal and culinary herbs for winter market.
Okay, great, thanks very much. All right, I'm gonna start off a little bit, and then we're gonna go to Marshall, and then we're gonna go to Beth. So, and then if you have questions as we go, please feel free, and between the three of us, we can hopefully try to answer this. So, you're thinking about going into food processing, all right? What you really need to think about is, you're really gonna start a factory, okay? Whether you're gonna do this at a small scale in your home kitchen, or whether you're gonna sometime build a huge factory, you need to keep in mind that this process that you're doing needs to be done in a safe and sanitary manner and marketed to the consumer, so basically you don't cause any foodborne illness, all right? So there are some specific regulations and things that you need to follow to make sure that this is gonna happen. And the very first and foremost thing that you need, two things that you need to have is you need to have a water supply that is safe. Now, for those of you that live in a municipality, if you happen to have what's called town or city water, then the municipality takes the burden of responsibility to provide you with a safe and potable water supply. If you're on a farm situation, or if you're on a well and you don't get your water through the municipality, then you're going to need to test your water on a yearly basis, okay, on an annual basis. And so that first and foremost, before you even begin to do anything else, you need to know that number one, that you have a potable water supply that it has been properly tested and is regulated, all right? Because many of us that live on farms, we don't have that luxury of having the high taxes and city water. So we need to test our water on a yearly basis. There are several laboratories within the state that do perform this analysis, and it's like it's $35, or it's a small fee. In one of the handouts, I think the article that I wrote for our paper, I do actually have a list of some of the labs, and it's a pretty straightforward thing. You know, you collect the water, you send the sample away, and they send you back. You can get a more detailed analysis if you want, but what are they really looking for in the water test?
Coliforms, nitrites, and nitrates. Total bacteria.
The total bag. So those are the three important things. That, other than that, anything else would be for your own interest, and sometimes it is kind of, you're going to send a sample away. It's interesting to see if there's some other, you know, if you have high levels of metal or other types of things as far as that. But as far as from a food safety standpoint, those are the three things that are necessary, okay? So you've got to have an adequate water supply, and the second thing that's required is you have to have an adequate septic system or a waste disposal system. So, again, if you live in a municipality where you have town water and town sewer, then the municipality assumes that responsibility for you. So that's the really easy part on checking that off on your licensing. If not, and you live again on a farm situation or in a rural location, then it's going to be necessary for you to get a letter from your code enforcement officer in your community that says that your septic system meets all local and state codes, okay? Now, for example, my husband and I live on the island of Deer Isle, which is a big rock, okay? So first and foremost, yeah, I know, it's a pain. First and foremost, our water supply is, we do test it every year, and it's potable and it's okay, but it's you know, we live on a rock, so it's full of, it's got a lot of magnesium and iron in it, so it's good, and secondly, our septic system is too small. So my husband and I just brought a food processing company to market, which I'll talk about in a little while. So we decided not to locate in Stonington because my septic system was too small. It's only an 800-gallon system, and so if I were to get a commercial home food processing all that ledge and everything else, I'm like, you know what, this isn't gonna be worth my while, so those, it's either your municipality is gonna assume that, or you're gonna have to have the code enforcement officer in your community give you that letter. Now, I've had people in the past that have said, well, the code enforcement officer, or whatever, they went to their town and they wouldn't do that, and it's like, they will do that, and some places, they said, well, a certified plumber has to do it, and he's gonna charge me $300, and it's like, no, time out. That's really not necessary. Your code enforcement officer should be able to provide you with that information at no charge, okay? So it's really available to you. It's a basic understanding of this is how your municipality works, and they should have a record and they should have it on file. So some folks, if you maybe inherited a piece of property, or you live in an older piece of property where maybe the septic system wasn't on record back when the municipality was keeping records, the officer, a code enforcement officer, might come out and actually inspect and do some looking at your property. And this is going to be a personal choice that you're going to have to make if you decide you want to continue down this road, because I know there are some farms that really don't want the municipal code enforcement officer on their property for various reasons. So I'm just kind of giving you a heads up that that's your choice, but if you are going to get licensed by the state, you are going to have to go through that process. Any questions? All right. Marshall, why don't you tell us about some of the other things we need?
Okay, I'll get into that a little bit. Actually, I'm going to continue with what you said about, what's recall? Can I see it?
Oh, yeah.
I have to move.
I know, I understand.
It is, we need to have a water test. That's done annually to have your retail food license or your home license or whatever you want to apply for to do your processing. Septic review only needs to be done once. It does not have to be done yearly like your water. Incidentally, I have all that in these packets. Everything that I'm going to discuss with you is in here, even some questions and answers that you might have about certain things that I might not catch. What I just did one with a water company, Bottled Spring Water Company. It just changed hands, and I went in and I called the municipality, and they faxed over the diagram of the septic system. No charge, and real simple, and it saved a hassle with getting your license. But if you have a code officer in your area, they come out, they're just going to inspect it and say, well, it doesn't look like there's any issues. It's going to control whatever you're doing for processing, so it's acceptable. That's all you really need. Just want to make sure one isn't running into the other. That's an issue we did at one point. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to start you off with licensing. Who needs a license, and what you need for a license, and what we look for when we come into your facility, and so forth. It's commercial processing, it's retail food, and it's home food processing. And again, all this stuff is in these folders.
Are those three separate?
Three separate.
Yes, they are. There's three separate licenses, and I'll get into every one of these with you. I'll try to do as quickly as I can.
That's all right.
Okay, I'm all done.
You can't run out of me yet, Alan.
So who needs a license? Anyone processing food items to resell, food manufacturers or your processors. And here's the type of license. If you're doing the mobile vendor's license, if you're doing a farmer's market or just roadside on your own or a craft fair or something, you will need a mobile vendor's license in addition to your home food or whatever you have for a license.
Sorry, could you say that again? You need a mobile license?
A mobile vendor's license, yeah. This just allows you to.
Stand in your front yard?
Absolutely. If you're gonna, it depends what you're gonna get for a license now. So let me go over some of the other stuff, and as I said, everything is in this booklet to help you, to guide you. Besides, but I'll start right now with a very basic license, home food license. This allows you out of your home to make any baked goods, any product that is not a potential hazardous food. Which means, rule of thumb, if you can take your product and sit it on the counter and it will just get moldy, it's going to lose its quality, it's not going to cause a pathogen or an illness, then that's what you can do at a home food license. You cannot make like cream puffs, custards, stuff that needs to be controlled with refrigeration.
pesto is another one that you can't make
Right.
without,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, you know, cookies, brownies, cakes. I mean, I realize that eggs and milk also is an issue, but it's being cooked, so it's not gonna cause an issue. It's just gonna be a quality issue, mold. So that's it. So that's what you're allowed in your home food kitchen. What we need is you have to have a 2-bay sink or maybe a 1-bay sink in an acceptable dishwasher. So you can do wash, rinse, and sanitize. We're looking for all cleanable surfaces, which means painted or sealed. Doesn't necessarily mean it has to be stainless steel. It's just gotta be a cleanable surface that won't harbor any bacteria. The thermometer in your refrigerator, 41 degrees is what the food code is. And you're allowed to have animals. People say, can I have animals in my house, you know, if I'm doing processing? Well, yes, you can, but not during the time that you're rolling out the pie crust. The cat can't be. No, I've witnessed this quite often. So what it is, and don't forget, this is your dignity of your product that's going out there. So you really want to make it shine because it's going to have a reflection on you. I think if you look at it that way instead of all the money you're going to make, it's probably be easier to do it. But yes, you can have an animal in there, and then when you're going to get ready to process, just clean and sanitize your whole facility, barricade the animal so he doesn't come in while you're doing your processing, and you're fine. So you can get away with that. So that's home food.
Same thing with small children, by the way, too.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, right. No, I know that, but some people think, well, but
Yeah, that's
it's
true
really
too.
not
Yeah, that's
appropriate
right.
to have small children.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a big thing too.
Yeah, so.
Did you repeat what you said about the sink? I didn't quite.
Yes, for a home food now, this is your basic license to deal with a non-potential hazardous process. You need to have a 2-bay sink. Or if you have a 1-bay sink, then you have a dishwasher that will basically accept the temperatures and the sanitizer. You know, you have to have, if you have a 2-bay sink, you're all set. You don't need the dishwasher. But if you've got a 1-bay sink, you should have a dishwasher that will
And a lot of your.
they will say right on it too.
Yeah, they'll say on it, and Marshall and I go back and forth here too.
Yes, perfect.
If a lot of your, I want to say higher end, but your home dishwashers now have what's called sani cycles on them, okay? And a sanitation cycle means that it comes up to 180 degrees for at least 90 seconds, and you're using heat to sanitize what's in the dishwasher.
Kill the bacteria.
To kill the bacteria, okay? If you were in a restaurant situation, all restaurants have to have a dishwasher, and they choose to sanitize with either a chemical or they choose to sanitize with heat. We in the organic world choose to sanitize with heat because we don't, chemicals are not, some chemicals are not allowed in the organic world, but that is, so, but I've got a I've seen Bosch dishwashers that have this, I've even seen some Kenmore's. So these dishwashers, so if you only have a 1-bay sink, you can have a 1-bay sink and this dishwasher and still meet the minimum requirements of the licensing.
Exactly. It's all about sanitization. Yes.
So you don't need a hand sink separate?
Not in home food.
Home food, okay. And if I was going to can mackerel, jar mackerel, not in home food or?
Oh, no.
Right, okay, because that's a low acid.
No.
Right, you're not canning anything. So there's no.
Not without, yeah, it's gonna be, that would really.
Oh, no, I know, that's why I asked it, because that's the
Yeah,
most
fine,
extreme
yeah.
example, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you can do in your home food, you can do your relishes, your pickles, and as of now, we've taken the jams and jellies out of having to have a process review. So you can make jams and jellies and not have to send them into.
I'm just gonna pass this around because these
Yeah.
are some products that I just have licensed actually.
So, do the jams qualify for home?
Yep.
Yes, they do, yeah, jams and jellies, pickles, acidified.
Yeah.
But those do need, not the jams and
These
jellies, but the pickles, any acidified needs to be, have a process review done, and we obviously suggest that Beth does it, Dr. Al Bushwick.
These are not in the kitchen, right? Just
These can be done in a home food
Yeah.
processing kitchen. I happen to have a commercial kitchen because of other things I want to do, but these can be done in a home food processing kitchen. That's why I'm showing them to you.
These are samples and souvenirs, right? For lunch?
So you have 2 bays in?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. We can do that. You can sanitize with, a lot of it being bleach. You want to go between 1 to 200 ppm. Sanitize like a rock.
Take your finger off the veggie.
Oh yeah, there's different ones, actually Beth will get into that, all the different sanitizers and stuff that.
Yeah, and I can talk
Because
about that.
there's a lot of different ways of doing it, you know, so you if you get 2 bays in, you're fine. Yeah, it's a 1 bay that you need to have a dishwasher. Because you need to wash and sanitize, that's the whole idea. Especially if you deal with allergy issues, you don't want to come back. It's everything about loss and coming back on those bays.
Right.
Bottom line is covering your butt. And I make a suggestion on your processing, on your labeling. The label requires the name of your product, the weight or count in grams, list of ingredients and the predominance, and the address and zip code of the processor. This is also in this packet. And I suggest that you do like a lot code. So in case of a recall, if something happens with your product, you won't have to destroy all of it. You can just destroy that particular lot.
We call a batch number, and if you look at the jars that are going around, you're gonna see a number on the bottom of every jar, okay?
Oh, that's where it is.
And that's a batch number, okay?
Yes.
Can you repeat what you said about the cleanable surfaces, like the stainless steel, obviously, but if you don't have that?
Yeah, anything that's either painted or sealed. So that means that you don't have bare wood, so there is no harborage for any type of bacteria.
So just for my countertop is.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. It's a cleanable surface.
There's more.
Yeah. Bare wood is not, is what I'm trying to explain to you. We don't want you to go through a high expense, but just.
Like a butcher block.
Like a wood block.
Yeah. No.
Question here?
Yes.
If you have wood and it has a seal, it's not comparable to fine.
Right.
It's sealed, yeah. We got what's up there. The only trouble is you're gonna be careful, and I have no idea what you're gonna be doing, but in some cases is, if you're cutting on it, you're gonna get some little pieces into your product of wood. You gotta,
Seals, you're not gonna wanna wrap that seal.
yeah, a lot of people do. A lot of people take and they'll have that nice wooden table that she's talking about. But they go out and you can buy those little fiber cutting, and you can do all your stuff right on that. That can, in some cases, be.
So that's acceptable for you to have something on top of it?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. If it's, because it's a cleanable surface, you know, like that fiber that we're talking about, that's acceptable.
It's a butcher block table.
Yeah.
But it's large, it's not, and I was just wondering if I could just put something on top of it.
Absolutely. Sure. Yeah. As long as you wash, rinse, and sanitize that, whatever you use. Yes?
What about like an outdoor kitchen setup? Is there, is that allowed?
An outdoor kitchen? Is it open?
It's open air.
No, it's environmental contamination. Yeah, no. Yes?
What do you recommend for sanitizing the kitchen top?
Well, there's a lot of different products you can use. The most common one, and a lot of people don't like to use it, is bleach.
We'll talk
Yeah.
about sanitizing when we tour the kitchen.
Yeah,
How's that,
this should
okay?
get you better.
Yeah.
What about ovens and, ventilation from ovens?
Well, what they want to do, they want to make sure that you can vent if you've got a moisture or if you've got a smoke issue coming in, you just need to be able to vent it out to make it comfortable. It's not required like a suppression system.
You don't have to have a hood?
No, not in the home food processing.
See, this is just home food, very basic, so it really allows you quite a bit. So now I'm going to continue with this home food, and what this allows you to do.
Expand on the outside cooking. What about like stone ovens?
If it's going to be an outdoor cooking without any walls or anything, it's done. It's unfortunate environmental contamination.
But, Marshall, I know that there have been some folks that have, like, for example, have an outdoor bread oven.
Well, I have a donut guy that does that. He makes
Right.
the donuts in another shed.
Inside.
It's inside though.
It's inside,
All enclosed.
and then he takes the product covered
It's all covered
out
on
to
the
the
top.
oven and then it's baked. The problem with being outside is the contamination factor from birds or, it's just, okay?
Don't forget, it's your protection.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's fine, no, that's
Clear.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, back to the home food again. This is what you're allowed to do if you get a home food license. I believe it's $20 a year. We talked about the water testing, et cetera, but this allows you to sell your product out of your house. People can call in or whatever, you can advertise any way you want. It also allows you to sell your product at some of the local retail food stores if you'd like. And then again, it also allows you, if you get the mobile vendor's license, to get out either on the side of the road or at some type of an event. So it's a pretty good deal for home food. It gets you started. Yes.
So when you say event, that means like a farmer's market?
Yes, yeah, any kind of an outdoor event. And if you're, and also, in this packet that I have here too, we started allowing sampling it from farmers markets, providing it's done properly. Again, you know, this is a protection of your product. I've seen kids take the cheese and they didn't like it, put it back. I've seen dogs, noses and tongues all along the exposed breads. Yeah, it's very attractive. So you need to keep your product covered for your own protection so there can't be an outside contamination, no matter what it is. So it's pretty simple, yes.
If you already have obtained the home food license, is there another layer of qualifications you must meet to get the mobile?
No, you can,
And how much is that?
the mobile vendor, I think it's maybe $20.
$20.
Yeah.
It's another $20. It's
Yeah.
20. So if you're gonna set up and you wanna sell your jams and jellies at the farmer's market,
Yeah.
it's gonna cost you $20 for your home food processing license and $20 for your mobile vendor license, okay? And if you're gonna go to any farmer's market, most of your farmer's markets are gonna require that they see your license before
Yes.
you set up operation here, okay?
I suggested you make a copy of one, keep your master at home and file maybe,
Yeah.
and bring one with you, because this is also a great resource. When I'm coming out to buy a product and I look and goes, oh, you know, they've been inspected, so we know that it's a capable facility maybe, but something.
I was just, don't most markets also require insurance?
Yes, they do.
Or is that-
We haven't got that for you.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that would
That's
be
another
another-
whole thing.
that's
They
another whole
require
thing, yeah.
liability insurance.
Okay, so does everybody understand what you need to do for home food? It's pretty simple. It's non-potential hazardous foods, baked goods. Your product can't be controlled by refrigeration. And can I help you?
Just want anything about the floors and the walls?
All cleanable surface. Just think that there's no bare wood. There's no way that it can harbor any bacteria. That's the whole thing. Just
So that includes the floor? And
yeah, if you got a tile floor or if you got a wood floor that's sealed, that's fine.
Okay.
You know, whatever. Carpet is not acceptable. Not in your processing area. Yes.
I was gonna ask you to ask, I'm not sure it's the right time, we'll talk about it later, that's okay, but selling food online through your home, is that?
Yeah, actually, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get into that too. You
I was
can-
gonna say, we're gonna talk about where you can market
Yes.
your farm legally, and we'll get that one later. Got some good questions here, we're getting there, yes.
The lot codes and batch numbers, do you make them up and just keep a
That's
record of
something
them?
you do, yeah.
Right, okay, so you
Something
just,
you can
have a record.
identify.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, if you do
There's
a
no
load on
protocol.
Monday, let's say 10 pickles on Monday.
Right.
Certain code, then you do
There's
some
no
on Tuesday.
protocol for the date or anything like that?
Some
How-
people choose to use the sell-by date as their batch number, okay?
Julian,
It's really whatever they want to do. I will tell you, and this is a story I got from Marshall, and I'm probably gonna exaggerate, of a maple syrup producer
this is true.
that did not batch and had a problem and had how many gallons, 50 gallons, 60
At
gallons?
least, yeah, he
And
had
to
not
throw
cleaned
away.
his filter. The filter contains a toxin. The filter for maple syrup, and he had not cleaned it, so it obviously poisoned into the recipe. So by not having the batch number, it might have just had to destroy 10. Had to destroy either 50 or 100. It was
Yeah,
a lot.
it was a lot of
Yeah,
maple syrup.
just
and,
because it was a
80 bucks a
question.
gallon or whatever, that's a lot down the drain. So it's really
Worth it to
critical. And as I said, I have a batch number on my products, and I actually keep what's known, what I call a batch log. And we'll talk a little bit more about this when you do your processing. But each and every product that we make, I tell how many jars we make it, where the ingredients came from, what the batch number is, and then I also keep a pH of it also, so. Yeah, so that way, if somebody calls me up and says, you know, that jar of jam is moldy, well, then I can see which batch it came from, and I know where that went, and I can call that all back, all right? Rather than calling all my products back.
Yeah, it's a great resource. I mean, basically you're protecting yourself again. I'm gonna keep mentioning that because that's what it's all about. It's all about protecting you from something else happening. It's the other side of the coin completely. It really is. It's not more than like making the money and getting the product and so forth. It's also covering your back. So also if you're dealing with allergens in your house, like peanut butter, something to that effect, make sure you incorporate that into your labeling. Again, somebody buys your product at the retail store, it's not listed in that, or I have a friend of mine that makes a product, a candy, and she takes, and even though she doesn't do anything with peanut butter, you know, to sell, sometimes it happens in the home food kitchen, so she's gonna cover herself by just making a statement that peanut butter is occasionally processed in this kitchen. Because if somebody gets that product without the statement on the label and go into, is it anaphylactic or antibiotic, then there's a possibility you'll be in court.
So have you ever seen the statement on the label that says, this food was prepared in a
Warning.
facility that also those tree nuts or whatever?
Yeah, whatever it is.
And those types of allergens, and that's a very useful tool. We don't have to put that on our product label because we don't handle any of that stuff. We chose not to handle it in our facility, but there are, eight allergens that can cause that, so.
But if it's at your home and like your family eats, I mean.
Yes, then you
It's
can
a
put that on the
possibility.
label. Then
There's a possibility it can still get into your product that you're baking to sell, because you're in a home food.
Right.
I want to point to this real quick. If you're growing vegetables out of your garden, you're taking the vegetables and just giving them a quick rinse to get some of the dirt off them, you do not need a license to sell those. As long as you don't process them. The minute you start to cut them or mix them, then mix them with cutting, then you're going to be into a commercial process on that. But if you can just take them out of the garden, give them a rinse job, don't need a license. Yes.
What about just drying herbs?
If it's at its natural, just drying, yes, same thing. What was the other one? But okay, we'll keep moving on.
Well, Marshall's going to his notes, I'm gonna keep chiming in if you don't mind, but somebody asked a question about the floor, okay? And, I've learned a lot this year. One of the things, I happen to have a tile floor with a floor drain in it, and there's grout between the tiles, and it's not a smooth floor. Never do that again. Wicked pain in the butt to clean. We have a hose and we hose things down, but it's really, really hard to clean. So when I go to the next level and build another factory, I'm gonna do a smooth floor, because you just can't get some of those tomato seeds and applesauce that you spill on the floor. It's very hard to clean. I have wood walls that have paint on them, pain in the butt to clean. You know, it's not until you start doing this that you realize when they say easily cleanable surfaces, they don't say that just to, make it hard for you. They're saying it's going to be a lot easier for you as you actually process your product. So.
All depending on the degree that you're involved in any processing.
A cement floor before here.
It's not acceptable.
It needs to be painted or sealed.
That's correct. And when we go tour the kitchen, I'll show you what we did with the floor in there to make it legally acceptable.
You really have to get somebody that's involved with the paint stores that knows something about it. Because I've had a couple of the retail food stores that I've inspected that have had this new deal where it's an epoxy, and you just throw the chips in to make it look like a tile actually. And it didn't last maybe a couple of months.
Nothing lasts on concrete floors. Your gravel and the bottom of your shoes takes it off.
Yeah,
well, there is some stuff that
the floor we've had in there has lasted for 3 years.
Yeah, there is some stuff out there.
So, and it's an concrete floor, but it's quite a system. They use it on, Jay Leno uses it in his automobile storage facility. That's how the fellow figured it out to put it on here. It still is a nice looking floor, but you are correct. The gravel and everything wears it off. So. Do you have a question?
Yes, is there any responsibility in terms of potted culinary herbs, in terms of inspection or anything? You know, if you're actually going to retail potted.
To have the growing herbs in your processes.
Yeah, no,
That's not a problem.
no, that's not an issue. As soon as you start to change the identity of the product is when you get into commercial
I
processing.
think her question was,
About
whether
the
you
soil.
have
To
to
have
have
it
growing
there.
herb
No.
in your processing.
No, that's not a problem. No, I have herbs growing in my
Yeah,
windows.
no, that's fine. I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
No, that's fine.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Alrighty, so home food, we're all set, right? Everybody knows how to do that, you know, labeling, what you can do with it, what's required, okay, good. Gee, there's something I wanted to hit on. Okay, so the next step would be if you wanted to do commercial processing. Now, commercial processing allows you to process potential hazardous foods, but this has to be a separate kitchen. You cannot cook your Thanksgiving dinner or your Christmas dinner in this kitchen, have family, friends over and stuff.
Right, can't.
It's just not allowed. It's dedicated strictly to the processing you can do. And again, less of a chance of having any contamination going on from other friends of yours. Yes?
Okay, I guess I just need to back up there. With the home license, can it be your house?
That's
kitchen?
correct. Yes, it can be.
Yeah, it's in your house. It's your home kitchen.
So we pets and the kids out when we're actually
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
the job.
In a home
Yeah,
food
back to the
processing
integrity of your product, yeah.
All right.
Okay,
You
so
can
that's
still
home
have
food.
You can still have a commercial kitchen in your home.
In your home, yeah, you can do the same. It's gotta be separate though. A lot of
Right.
people, like we say, a lot of people, as soon as their son or daughter goes to college, they immediately go into the commercial food processing business so that the kid can't go back and see it. They don't like to cook, but they like the idea that it's not a vacant room anymore. But that's what you can do. A lot of people do that. They take that spare room and fill it up with a refrigerator, a stove, everything's sink. It has to be a 2-bay sink and a separate hand wash sink. The separate hand wash sink is strictly dedicated for your personal hygiene. But that's the commercial end of it.
So that's moving up the next level
Yeah,
into a
up to
commercial
here.
kitchen. Right. And as Marshall said, it cannot be the kitchen in which you prepare your
Yeah.
family meals.
Nothing else can be done out there but whatever it
But
is that you're processing.
But you have to have a separate, if you have a 3-bay sink, does that?
Still have to have
No,
a
no,
separate
no,
unit.
that's how it doesn't work. You
If
can't
you
have a
have a
3-bay
bathroom-
sink and have one of the bays in hand washing.
If you have a bathroom and a.
The bathroom is unacceptable.
No.
Somebody goes in, uses the bathroom, doesn't wash the hand, comes out, somebody has herpes or hepatitis over
You
there.
have to have a separate unit wash sink.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
All right, so let me, well, he's got to grab that. The question was whether you could have your commercial kitchen located in your house, okay? When my husband and I brought our company to market this year, we actually had a piece of real estate that had a commercial kitchen in it that was a house in Bangor. So we located our facility in that house, but we could not use the kitchen to prepare meals for our family. So we happened to have a small apartment on the second floor, and we took the laundry room and made it into the home kitchen for me and my husband, because our kids have all gone. If they come home, they have to work in the family factory, that's our deal, so they don't know they have to come home. So, yeah, so that's that. So you can still build, I've known folks that have added on to their house and put the commercial kitchen on the outside or whatever, but it cannot be the same kitchen that you prepare meals. You don't want it to be. As a matter of fact, if you do get going in this, you're not really gonna wanna be processing food in your home food kitchen anyway, because the integrity of your product is something that you want to maintain, okay? We happen to have a dog, all right, and we don't allow them in the kitchen, but I'm gonna tell you something, those dog hairs are everywhere. You cannot, every time I clean out the commercial dishwasher after we run it to clean stuff, I'm always pulling dog hairs out of that dishwasher. So I don't care how much you try, you're gonna get dog hairs in your food. You know, we have a saying in our family, what's a little dog hairs between friends? Well, we got a lot of friends. I mean, I'm doing 30,000 jars of products. I don't have that many friends, and they don't want dog hair in their product, okay? So that's as you get going, and Marcia's gonna talk about this is your name, it's your product, it's your integrity. You really are not gonna wanna be doing this too much on a large scale basis in a home kitchen.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna wanna stop and think, how am I gonna run this factory? You're gonna wanna get rid of all those cute things that you've got on the counter, because all they are dirt and bacteria collectors. Just clean it all off and have it open so that you clean and sanitize.
I love it when somebody thinks like me.
They're
But,
cute,
you know,
but-
you really, it's different when you go into when you get invited over to somebody's place, it's a little different than it usually is. But anyway, yeah, that's so important, is again, I've seen people that have gone out of business because of the fact that they have had an issue with, an animal. They got into their product, somebody got it, and that was it, yes.
I had a quick question. It's kind of off the mark. Before I found
do?
out whether or not I was gonna be able to do home, commercial, whatever, I was looking for a community-based kitchen.
Well, that's my next step, I was gonna just get into that too, yeah.
Okay,
This is
so-
a good exception, this is where I was gonna go with, especially if you wanna do potential hazardous foods.
Okay.
Is that, I do a lot of inspections on a lot of community kitchens. They have their facilities set up, they've got everything you need without having you to make that big investment. And each individual is licensed by us that works in that kitchen, even though they're all doing different products. Each one has to be responsible for how they leave that or how they process.
Quick question in that though, for my situation, I found it really difficult to come up with a feasible community kitchen within distance-wise, so I started looking into places that might consider it, like fire station that had a kitchen in there.
Churches.
But they're in there cooking
Yeah.
meals or
But
whatever.
a church is common, and even, I have some people that do stuff in restaurants. They go into the restaurants at a certain hour, and they're able to use their equipment. I have a lot of people that do, barbecue sauces and stuff, you know, so.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's a great alternative. It's a great way to try your product out without this major investment, and then you can say if it's gonna go great, then it's worth the investment to you, instead of having all this stuff for sale in Uncle Henry's, you know? Yes,
So in that case, the individual is licensed
each one is responsible for whatever they're doing.
through the community kitchen or directly through?
No, it'll be through us, yeah, but it'll be done at the community kitchen, because everybody has to be held accountable for however they leave or don't leave that facility, okay? Yes.
Kind of a little bit different.
No,
subject.
it's fine.
Commercial kitchen versus home processing. If I'm putting in a small store, and I'm going to build a kitchen in that store, just so I can do this.
Retail.
Does it have to be a commercial kitchen if I'm not doing, if I have no plans to do a hazardous product, and it's really just to be jam, jellies, pickle relish, baked goods? Does it have to be built as a commercial kitchen?
No, what we can do is we can license you as a retail food. That's the next license.
I have one of those in there.
Okay, so that's fine, but if you, would you have any, you must have some type of water.
Actually, the retail license I have is for the beef. I'm pretty sure that's a retail license to sell frozen beef.
Yeah, but it's processed at another slaughterhouse.
Right.
And
So
it's
I
packaged
have-
at
I have
another
a
slaughter.
retail license.
So yeah, you have a prepackaged,
Okay.
so that means that there's no way you can take and open that up and
Right.
cut the hamburger in half and sell 2.5 pounds of burger, yeah.
So
But,
it's just another license.
but if you get into a little store, like you're saying, and you still have, and you have a home food kitchen,
Yeah.
then you can make your product in your home food kitchen and sell it in your little store. I'm trying to see if this is where.
I'm actually gonna I'm building a store and I wanna put my kitchen in the
Oh, okay.
store itself.
Well,
I
you'll
don't know
need,
if I